The sun has not yet crested the hills, but the first silver slivers of dawn are already stretching across the thatched rooftops of a village you do not know. There is no alarm clock, no gentle hum of a refrigerator, no rustle of traffic outside a window. Instead, the day begins with cold. You are lying on a straw-stuffed mattress, barely raised above the earthen floor. The blanket draped over your shoulders smells faintly of wood smoke and sheep's wool. It's scratchy. Beneath your head, a burlap sack filled with dried grass serves as a pillow. You blink into the dim light, the air so chilled it bites the inside of your nose. Somewhere a dog barks twice and then is silent. This is not your world. Not anymore. You have awoken in the year 1380, deep in the English countryside. You are not royalty. You are not nobility. You are not even a merchant. You are a peasant. Your body is stiff as you sit up. You've slept in your clothes. There are no pajamas, no change of garments for leisure. You own exactly 2 tunics, and this one, patched and stained, is the nicer of the 2. You pull on your hose, long woolen stockings, and tie them to your brays with leather cords. Then your shoes, simple leather wraps tied with cords. They're hard, cracked from yesterday's walk through the frozen field. There is no breakfast waiting. Your mother, or perhaps it is your wife in this imagined life, has already begun the fire in the hearth. She kneels by the ashes, blowing softly through a straw to rekindle yesterday's embers. Her fingers are raw from work. Behind her, a small child stirs beneath another wool blanket. He coughs once, then curls tighter into himself. You step outside. The village is stirring, but only just. A thin fog hugs the ground, swirling around the low huts and barn structures. You walk to the well with a wooden bucket in hand. It's 50 paces down the road. Unlike the modern world, water is not on tap. You pass a neighbor, John, the miller's son, leading 2 goats to pasture. You nod. He nods back. At the well, your hands grip the frozen rope. The pulley groans. The bucket hits water with a distant splash. You haul it up slowly, muscles straining. Cold water spills onto your legs. Back at the hut, your wife pours some into a pot to heat. The rest will be saved for drinking, if you boil it. If not, you may get sick. You remember the stories. Villagers taken by the bloody flux, the black tongue, the water sickness. No one knows exactly why they die. They just do. You chew on a crust of coarse rye bread, hardened from yesterday. If you're lucky, there may be a smear of lard. Butter is for the manor table. Today is a workday, like every day. You are a serf, which means you don't own the land you till. You owe your labor to the local lord, who lives in a manor 2 miles away. He rarely visits. His steward handles affairs, and his tax collector visits each fortnight with a wooden ledger and an iron key. You shoulder your hoe and join the others on the road. 30 or 40 villagers walking together in silence. A few mutter prayers, others simply watch their feet. You pass a shrine, St. Cuthbert's Cross, and many make the sign of the cross as they go. Your field lies in the open field system, long narrow strips of land with no fences. You are assigned 2 strips today. The soil is heavy clay, still frozen. You must break it with a mattock, then spread manure, then plant winter barley by hand. Your fingers bleed. Your back aches. There is no break room, no lunch hour. You eat when the steward allows. Usually, around midday, you sit by a hedgerow and eat a cold porridge called frumenti, boiled wheat in water, maybe flavored with leeks if your wife had any left. Sometimes there are weevils in the grain. You eat them too. You drink from a shared jug of ale. Water is unsafe. Ale is weak, barely alcoholic, but it is boiled and less likely to kill you. You drink deeply, wipe your mouth with a sleeve, and go back to work. At 3 in the afternoon, the sound of the Angelus bell rings out from the distant church tower. It echoes across the fields, calling everyone to pause. You kneel, face the sun, and whisper the Lord's Prayer in Latin. You don't understand every word, but you were taught to say them anyway. Sanctificetur nomen tuum. Your hands are cracked, your lips dry, and yet this is the only world you know. After the prayer, there is still work to be done. You must help repair the Lord's fence. Then you walk with others to gather firewood from the commons, careful not to be caught cutting green branches. That would mean a fine or a whipping. By the time you return home, the sun is setting in a blaze of red and orange. Smoke curls from chimneys. Children chase a wooden hoop down the lane, laughing. An old woman sharpens a spindle. Someone sings a low song in Cornish you don't quite understand. You step into your hut, and the warmth of the hearth greets you like an old friend. The night comes early. Supper is a pottage, a stew of beans, onions, garlic, and cabbage. Thick, hot, filling. There is no meat tonight. There is rarely meat. When there is, it is often salted pork, boiled beyond flavor. But tonight, the stew is enough. You sit with your family in the dim light. A tallow candle flickers, throwing shadows on the low beams. You listen as your wife tells a story, an old tale from her grandmother about a knight who rides a swan and battles a forest ghost. The child watches wide-eyed, mouth open. You smile. There is a knock at the door. It is Thomas, the village reeve. He carries a message. Tomorrow, the bishop is visiting. The steward wants the roads cleared. All hands must attend. You nod. There is no choice. Refusal would mean punishment. The last man who refused was made to stand in the stocks for 3 days, his face blistered by the sun. The fire dies low. The candle shortens. Your eyes grow heavy. There are no books to read, no music but the wind, no digital screens, no electric light, no distractions, only sleep. You lie down on the straw again. The child curls beside you. Your wife hums a song you half remember from childhood. Outside, the moon rises, the stars burn cold and clear, and the village sleeps, unaware that centuries from now, people will ask, how did they live like that? You awaken before the sun, again. Your body groans in protest. Your knees are sore from kneeling, your hands blistered from yesterday's labor. But there is no time for pain. The fire has gone cold, and the inside of the hut breathes frost. You can see your breath in the dark. Somewhere, a dog howls once, then is silent. You rise, pull your woolen cloak around your shoulders, and step outside. A thin mist rolls through the village. The air is damp with the scent of hay, dung, and smoke. A cart creaks in the distance. Thomas the reeve again, already rousing others. Today, the bishop is coming. And in 14th century England, the bishop is more than a priest. He is a noble, a judge, a collector of taxes. You pass the old widow's hut near the chapel. She stands at her door, muttering and tossing herbs into the air. Protection, she says. Against church eyes. You nod politely and move on. Too much interest in herbs, too many whispered words, and you risk being labeled a witch, not just by neighbors, but by the bishop's men. Already the steward's workers are gathering. There's much to do before his grace arrives. The road must be cleared of dung and debris. Flags must be hung at the manor gate. The small wooden chapel must be swept, its altar scrubbed, its candlesticks polished. You are assigned to the path. With a rake and a bucket, you begin the work, your back bent, breath fogging in the morning chill. Beside you, another man scrapes old mud from between paving stones. You both work in silence. By mid-morning, the bishop's retinue arrives. You hear them before you see them, the clatter of hooves, the jingle of bridles, the rustle of robes. Then they appear. 5 riders, cloaked in fine wool dyed deep crimson. Behind them, a covered wagon, followed by priests on foot. The bishop himself rides a tall horse, white as milk. He wears a gold cross the size of your palm. His gloves are sewn with pearls. You kneel, all of you do. The bishop doesn't speak. He does not need to. One of his priests announces his words. The bishop blesses the fields, the village, the people. He reminds you of your tithe, 1/10 of all harvest. He reminds you of sin, of humility, of obedience. Then he rides on to the manor, and just like that, he is gone. You rise slowly, the priest lingers. He walks the village lane, pausing here and there. He asks questions, not directly, but with smiles and soft words. Has anyone been dreaming lately? Any strange illnesses? Any women with too much learning? The widow stays inside today. So does the girl with the mismatched eyes. In the village square, near the stocks, the steward posts new laws. A child reads them aloud for those who cannot. No bread may be sold except through the market hall. No ale brewed without permission from the reeve. Any man found poaching from the Lord's land shall lose his hand. You exchange glances with John the miller's son. Last winter his father trapped a rabbit in secret. He was caught. He still walks, but only just. There is no mercy in this world for hunger. You walk home that night more slowly than usual. The bishop's visit has stirred unease. You hear whispers in corners. Some say the plague may return. Others speak of omens, Sickly lambs, red moons, a child born with teeth. Fear is constant, faith is survival. In your hut, the fire burns low. Your wife boils a thin gruel made of barley and leeks. The child sleeps. You eat in silence. Then as the moon rises, the village bell tolls once. Someone has died. You walk quietly to the churchyard. The priest says last rites. The grave is dug shallow. The earth is cold. In the following days, a cough begins to spread. It starts with the blacksmith's boy, then the baker's daughter, then your wife. She tries to hide it. She says it's just the smoke, just the cold. But you hear it in the night, wet, deep, like something pulling at her lungs. She sweats even in the cold. Her skin turns pale. There is no doctor, only the healer, Marjorie, who mixes herbs and chants old words from the forest. Some say she was once a nun, others say worse. You risk it? You take your wife to her hut, far from the road. Marjorie touches her face, feels her breath, smells her sweat. She gives you elderflower and ground root, tells you to boil it with honey. You do, and pray. A different kind of darkness. That night the wind howls. A storm lashes the fields. The thatch groans above your head. Leaks trickle down in dark lines across the wall. You curl beside your wife, whose breath rasps like paper. In the darkness, you hear a scream. Then silence. You step outside into the storm, heart pounding. Others gather, torches in hand. Down the lane, near the miller's house, a barn has collapsed. A young man lies beneath the timbers. His father, John, kneels beside him, weeping. No one speaks. You watch as they pull the body free. He is 17. His hand still clutches a broken lantern. In the distance, thunder rolls like a warning. You return home. Your wife is asleep, sweat shining on her brow. You hold her hand and pray. Not in Latin, just in silence. The storm passes. The air smells of earth and smoke. The village begins to clean again. Branches removed, carts righted, animals gathered. The bishop's men have gone, but his shadow lingers. A young girl is accused of ill omen. Her parents beg the reeve for mercy. He grants it for now. The harvest is still weeks away, and hunger gnaws at every edge. You trade a piece of old leather for dried peas. Your shoes are nearly broken. Your wife rises from her bed. She is weak but smiles. The tea worked. Or maybe the prayers. Or maybe the body just fights when it can. But you're grateful. For one more day. For now, the earth is softer now. Spring has nudged its way into the fields. The frost is gone from the thatch, and birds sing cautiously from the hedgerows. Dandelions bloom in the cracks between stones. Life returns, but not without cost. Your village bears scars. 3 homes were lost in the storm. 1 cow drowned in the flooding. And John, who buried his son beneath the ash tree, now walks with his eyes fixed on nothing at all. Still, the world does not pause. The land demands your hands. The manor has ordered all serfs to plow the common fields. Long, narrow strips of soil that must be tilled and planted before the week ends. You rise again with the pale light, your wife still sleeping softly. Her cough is better. Her color has returned. And when she smiles at you, it's as though winter has finally let go. You carry your iron-tipped hoe and join the others in the mist. The scent of damp soil and wet hay fills the air. Today, you begin again. It starts with the smoke. A thin, black tendril rising from behind the mill. You notice it as you work, pausing, wiping your brow with your sleeve. Then you hear the shouts. Then the bell. Then the rush of feet. You drop your tool and run. The wind is strong that morning, and the fire dances with it. Flames roar through the old mill barn, climbing from hay to timber to thatched roof. Sparks leap like angry stars. Villagers form a chain to the well. Buckets pass hand to hand. You join the line. The smoke stings your eyes. The heat presses against your skin. There is no fire brigade, no engines, only hands, feet, and desperation. The fire claims the barn, then the east wall, then the house. When it finally dies, there is nothing left but a black skeleton of beams and ash. The miller weeps beside the wreckage. You return home covered in soot. Your wife says nothing, just wraps a cloth around your hand where a splinter has dug in deep. You eat burned onions and barley stew. It tastes like smoke. The fire has taken more than wood. It's taken your breath, your strength, your sense of safety. Because now, everyone is watching for embers. 3 days later, a boy is tied to the stocks. Thomas, the cooper's apprentice. They say he was playing with flint and steel near the mill. He cries as they lash his wrists. The reeve reads aloud his crime: reckless endangerment of property. He must remain in the stocks for 2 full days and 1 night. No food, no water, no shelter from sun or rain. Some villagers pass him bread in secret. Others spit at his feet. By nightfall, his cries have turned to silence. By morning, his lips are cracked and swollen. When they untie him, he collapses. You carry him home. His mother thanks you in silence. You think of your own child, still young, still innocent. You wonder how long he will remain so. A week later, a traveler arrives. He rides a thin, dust-covered horse and carries a long staff carved with symbols. His cloak is tattered, his boots are mismatched, and his eyes are too sharp. The villagers murmur. Strangers are rare and dangerous. The traveler says little. He speaks in a northern dialect, thick and strange. He asks for bread and water, offers trinkets in return. Tiny iron figures, herbs tied in string, a stone shaped like a heart. Your wife gives him a heel of bread. He thanks her with a nod and presses a charm into her palm. Keep it by the hearth, he says, for warmth. Then he walks on. That night, the village buzzes with talk. Some say he's a sorcerer. Others say he's a monk fallen from grace. A few believe he's a spy from France. You say nothing. But that night, you find the charm resting quietly on the mantle. The fire burns longer than usual, and your child sleeps without coughing. The Lord returns. Then comes the day no one expects. The Lord himself returns to the manor. He rides with 2 squires, a dozen soldiers, and a falcon perched on his arm. He is younger than most imagined, with dark eyes and a scar down one cheek. He does not look cruel, but neither does he smile. He summons the headmen, the reeve, the miller, the blacksmith, and meets them beneath the manor's stone arch. You are not allowed close, but you listen. He asks about taxes, about yields, about births and deaths. Then he asks about the fire, about the traveler, about the healer woman, Marjorie. There is a long pause. The reeve says she is useful. The blacksmith agrees. The Lord nods slowly, then says nothing more. He stays 2 nights, then leaves again, hawk screaming against the sky, and Marjorie remains free. For now, the great silence. As spring fades into early summer, a strange silence settles over the village. No one speaks of it, but all feel it. There have been fewer birds, fewer bees, the sheep are birthing smaller lambs, and the clouds hang low and gray, even on days with no rain. You work harder, you plant wheat, you mend tools, you help repair the broken barn, and at night, you whisper to your wife of dreams, of buying a pig, of building a fence, of saving enough coin to visit the fair in Norwich next year. She smiles, fingers tangled in your hair. And for that moment you are not poor, not a serf, not forgotten. Just a man and a woman and the soft hush of sleep. The wheat is taller now. It waves in the summer wind, whispering as if it remembers every footstep that crossed it in the spring. The sun sits longer in the sky. The days are warmer, but not easier. Time does not rest in the medieval world. Each day is earned, and each night survived. You have lived another season, and that, in this time, is a small miracle. Today, something different stirs. It is Fair Day, a rare and cherished event. Once a year, the manor fields host a gathering of sellers, traders, and travelers. Permission from the Lord has been granted. A bright blue banner flies near the village gate. You've seen it once before, years ago. Then, you were just a boy. Now you walk beside your wife, your child on your shoulders. The village is transformed. Bright tents rise like sails in the field. Smells of roasted meat, beer, and honeyed cakes drift on the wind. A juggler tosses flaming sticks in the air, to the delight of a ring of children. A fiddler plays a frantic tune while a woman dances barefoot in the dust. You trade a dozen eggs and a wooden spoon for a linen cloth and a pinch of salt. Your wife finds a comb made of bone. Your child receives a whistle shaped like a bird. Laughter fills the air. And for the first time in months, no one thinks of death or taxes or fire. Only the now, the warmth, the moment. At the edge of the fair, an old man sits on a barrel. His beard is silver, his eyes clouded but sharp. Around him a small crowd has gathered. He tells stories of distant lands beyond the sea, of castles made of glass, of cities where candles never go out, and streets paved with brick. You listen, half believing, half dreaming. He speaks of a place called Florence, where artists paint the sky, of a war in France, where knights with golden crests charge across rivers red with blood, of a place called Constantinople, where towers touch the heavens and spices come from kingdoms beyond imagining. Your child's mouth hangs open, your wife smiles, and you wonder, could there be such places? Could you ever see them? Would they welcome a man with calloused hands and patched clothes? Or would they laugh? The next morning, a rider arrives. He carries a seal and a scroll, and rides a tired horse that has seen many miles. He speaks briefly with the steward, then departs. The steward gathers the village in the square. He unrolls the scroll. It is a royal edict. The king has declared a new militia levy. Every village must offer 2 men of suitable age for military service. They will be trained, equipped, and sent to join the campaign in the north. Against the Scots, you feel the breath catch in your chest. 2 names, 2 lives, gone from the village. Your name is not called, but John's is, and Hugh's, barely 16 with a face still soft from boyhood. Their families weep. There is no refusal, no debate. The crown calls, the crown takes. You help John pack. A spare tunic, dried bread, a knife, a wool scarf his wife wove in spring. You clasp forearms with him. Say nothing. He nods, then marches away. You never see him again. The peace is short. In August, the rain returns with a vengeance. Not like the gentle spring showers, but torrents. Days of it. The fields flood. The paths become rivers. Wheat is washed away. Roots rot in the earth. Rats multiply. And with them, sickness. It begins as a fever. Then blood. Then vomiting. The healer says it is the bad water. The priest says it is judgment. You say nothing. You boil your water. Wash your hands with ash. Bury your food deeper. Still, people die. 2 children, an old man, the weaver's daughter. Then the blacksmith. The bell tolls day after day. Your wife clutches your hand each night. You clutch back. You pray harder. Sometimes aloud. Sometimes with nothing but tears. The longest night. In the 2nd week of rain, your child falls ill. You wake to find his skin hot and his eyes dull. He does not eat. He does not speak. He only lies still, wrapped in every blanket you own. Your wife does not leave his side. Neither do you. Marjorie, the healer, arrives with herbs, with prayers, with steam bowls and songs you do not understand. She burns herbs in the corner, sprinkles wine over the door, puts garlic beneath his bed. You do not argue. You would welcome magic if it would help. That night the wind howls outside. The village is dark, wet, mournful. You sit by your son's side. You whisper to him. Tell him stories of the fair, of the glass castles, of the faraway seas. He does not answer. But just before dawn, he stirs, opens his eyes, and says your name. You weep freely, gratefully, silently. You know not everyone will be spared. But this time, he was. When the rain ends, the sun does not return with joy. It glares down, harsh and unfeeling, as if to scold the world for its weakness. The ground dries, the crops die. Fewer voices echo in the fields now. The village is smaller, not by buildings, but by people. The blacksmith's forge is silent. The widow's door is boarded. The laughter of spring has gone. But still life continues, because it must. You plant again. You mend tools again. You pray again. And in the spaces between fear and hunger you find something else. Hope. Not loud, not proud. Just a whisper, but enough. Another winter comes. You are older now. Your son stands taller than your waist. He tends the fire without being told. He asks questions about the stars, the priests, the horses. Your wife hums more often, and sometimes you smile just because she does. You look back on the last year, not with joy perhaps, but with awe. How did you survive it? The fire, the flood, the fever, the loss? You don't know. You only know you did. And now, as you sit beneath a sky filled with stars, beside a hut filled with warmth, you realize something. This is not a story of suffering. This is a story of endurance, of the quiet, invisible strength it takes to rise each day, with no guarantee of tomorrow. To keep breathing when the air is thin. To keep walking when the road is broken. To keep loving, even when everything around you falls apart. You are no king, no knight, no scholar. But you are something they'll never be. You are the root. The thread that holds the world together. Not in songs, not in scrolls, but in breath and soil and firelight and memory.